welcome back to the Junius Maltby channel. My apologies for getting this news to you 24 hours later than I wished I could have. I was caught up working yesterday, but if you check these headlines out, this is a pretty good breaking story. It's almost like when we talked about that SGE, the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the big shift in China with gold investment, gold bullion purchasing. Let's take a look at these headlines, take this article apart, and talk about this. Islamic finance set to change gold market. Here's another headline right here. Sharia gold standard approved for $2 trillion Islamic finance market. Okay, new gold standard for Islamic finance. Gold has become an acceptable investment in Islamic finance for the first time. That's after the Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions adopted Sharia-compliant rules for trading the metal. Bloomberg's Tracy Alloy reported this on Bloomberg Markets Middle East. Source Bloomberg, that's where that headline came from there. This is popping up throughout the financial news sectors, throughout precious metal sites, bullion investment sites, mining sites. Pretty big news. It's really getting, I guess you could term it, top billing when it comes to news stories related to gold all over the internet. This is I guess you could say it's blown up. It's going viral, this story. If Islamic finance institutions were to allocate just 1% of assets into the new products, then its demand may climb by about 500 to 1,000 tons. Some are estimating even more than that because they do value and put a lot of weight in gold. They invest differently than many of the people here in the West. Gold is valued in a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, and rightfully so. I think they know and see the inherent value in gold traditionally, and that's a good thing. So you're seeing these articles pop up talking about, there being as many as 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, 25% of the global population. So imagine that 25%, 1/4 of the world's population, and I understand they're not all going to go out and buy gold tomorrow, but that's a pretty large and significant number of people that are now open to or going to be more capable of purchasing and investing in metals, specifically gold. Now they're going to have far greater access to the gold market since they've had, and in these modern financial times. Now this could change, it could change a lot of things. It could change, I would assume, the price of gold, the demand for gold, where it moves on the planet, and who's investing in it, and what's going on with the price here stateside in the United States, and during those conversations between the banks when they set the price of gold, there's going to be a little bit more of opinion or input from different population groups around the world as far as what the metal is going for. But this is going to maybe shake things up a little bit. Let's take a look at some graphs here. Not graphs, more like they're charts that kind of explain the situation. It says here that Sharia is the legal system of the Islamic world. I think many of you are familiar with that. We've heard the term in the past, derived from the Quran. Historically, gold investing has been problematic under Sharia law as it's considered a ribawi item. Gotta be honest, I'm not familiar with a lot of these terms, so I'm not an expert by any means on Sharia law. I know very little about it other than what things like this, what I've read, maybe perhaps what comes out of news outlets as far as it being. I know it's part of the religious institution of the Muslim faith and their laws. Ribawi items must be sold on weight and measures. Therefore, as an asset, gold is Sharia compliant. Gold cannot, however, be traded for future value, interest, or speculation. I kind of agree with that. That's kind of neat. So they can buy it based on its weight and value, not really to speculate. Confusion over gold as an investment means most people invest in jewelry and coins. December 2016, the new gold standard. In December 2016, that's now, a new gold standard will be introduced, which will be Sharia compliant. The Sharia gold standard was a collaboration between the AOIFI, the World Gold Council, and Imani advisors. Muslim investors will be able to take advantage of an increasing range of gold-backed investment opportunities which had previously been non-compliant. Gives you some examples there: mining shares, vaulted gold, gold savings plans, gold certificates, and physical gold, which I imagine would be the largest portion of this. I think a lot of it's going to be physical. They're going to have a greater number and variety of liquid Sharia compliant instruments to choose from. 1.6 billion people, 25% of the planet, will now have a new gold investment standard. The Islamic world will play an increasingly important role in the gold price, as we would expect. The Islamic finance market is expected to grow from 2 trillion to 5 trillion by 2020. Here's a list of items that the Sharia gold standard announced yesterday, allowing the 110 million investors in the Islamic world to invest in. So out of the 1.6 billion, they think there's about 110 million investors. That's a lot of people. Vaulted gold, gold savings plans, gold certificates, physical gold ETFs, including probably the SPDR Gold Trust, the biggest exchange-traded gold, GLD, gold mining shares. We know 3 things that the new Sharia gold standard will achieve. It will increase the diversity and the number of available Sharia gold-compliant investment products, greater emphasis on the role of physical gold in gold transactions. Islamic finance will have greater say in setting of the gold price. I think a lot of this is going to be directed towards physical gold. I think this is going to change the ball game again. We look at the SGE, what happened with China, the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and now you have this all happening within about a year of each other. What does that tell you about the direction of the gold market, the value of gold, and the world's perception of gold? Again, you have to ignore the Western media and your crazy uncle and cousins at holiday dinners that tell you gold is worthless, has no value, doesn't back any currencies anymore. It's an archaic and barbarous relic. Okay, there's a lot of people, a measurement in the billions, that don't agree with your crazy Uncle Daryl and your cousin Rufus. Okay, so you might want to disregard, marginalize what you hear from them at the table, and pay attention to these articles and what we talked about here. This investing in gold, now compliant with Sharia law, the potential for it is huge. Or as our new president-elect would say, huge. This is huge. The gold market might now have access to again, you see that number keep popping up, 1.6 billion new buyers. Again, not all of them will be buying gold. I understand that. The yellow metal is acceptable for the first time as an investment in Islamic finance. This is big stuff, ladies and gentlemen, big stuff. Keep your eye on it. Looking at these current lows of where gold's been sitting at, it's gotten just beat up recently. Am I right? You guys have seen it. We've talked about it. It's a good time to get some gold before these 1.6 billion other buyers try to jump in and change things up a bit. I've said for years that the days of sub $1,000 gold, I believe that, unless there's some huge outside circumstances that I cannot see and do not understand, I think the age of sub $1,000 gold is over. I think we've seen it. I think I've seen the lows of gold in my lifetime long ago. I think it's over. We're not going to go back to an age in which we're seeing $700, $800, even $900 gold. I just don't see that happening. I have a really hard time looking at things the way they are, the direction of things in the world as far as government spending, debt, and all the economic uncertainty, the global politics, what's happening in the euro, trade relations with the U.S. and China, and then you've got Russia and you've got Iran. All these things, these constant headlines that churn out that you and I are digesting here. And then you look at things like the SGE, what's going on in China, their emphasis on gold, and now 25% of the planet. Yesterday, you have to realize, 25%, 1/4 of the entire population of this planet, the little blue marble, Earth, just decided to be allowed to be more open to buying physical gold and purchasing physical gold. So that's something to take into consideration, definitely, if you're looking at gold as a place to hedge, a place to put your money for your pension, some savings, an investment vehicle, or just like we talk about, insurance for the future, insurance against inflation, insurance against market devaluations. This is a I think this is going to give a huge boost in confidence for those that are looking at gold as a safe haven to put their wealth. Let's kind of move along. I mean, that's a big news. Obviously, it's a big articles. We could talk about it for a long time, but I want to piggyback onto it. The gold price forecasted to soar 50% up next year amid Eurozone uncertainties. The other article pulled up. I think the information that we just went through also helps validate this article. They don't really mention that as a factor, but if gold goes up 50% next year amid Eurozone uncertainties, I would assume that the fact that 25% of the population is now able to buy it also helped boost the price of gold. You know, they're having presidential elections, a lot of people stepping down, being reelected. We've seen people quitting their positions. There's some change going on in Europe. There's some tensions. Europe's in a state of chaos, you know, with the immigration situation, the refugees, and this struggle between people trying to become more nationalistic and the populist movements, as we've talked about. And then you have the progressive liberals over there trying to open their borders, dissolve their culture, and destroy their way of life. So there's a struggle there. We're looking at the potential that gold traders are expecting the price of gold to climb between 25% and 50% next year, as a coming swarm of political uncertainties will lead investors to bet on the precious metal. Yeah, we talked about this in the last video. Gold possibly hitting $1,350 next year. I definitely could see that occurring, perhaps even higher. We've seen how fast the winds change, how fast the weather patterns shift. You know, you wake up one morning and gold's up 80 or 100 bucks. You wake up the next morning, it's up into the 50 bucks. It changes the snap of your fingers, and usually we do not have time to react, you and I. It happens too quickly. Gold investing hits a 5-year high on 2017 risks. This is another article talking about Western investors leapt to a 5-year high in November, drop in prices after Donald Trump won the 2017 U.S. presidency, spurring the strongest net demand for physical gold since the end of 2011. So you can see a chart here, gold price versus gold investment. As the price dipped, you see the big guys, the big wigs, guys that probably know a little bit more than you and I, jumped in and began to invest heavily in gold. So there you have it. We could look at this almost as an introduction article, an introduction video into how we think gold's going to persist going into 2017. We're closing out 2016 now on some interesting times. There's been some changes politically. There's been some changes economically. Going into 2017, where do we see gold? I think gold's going to end 2017 much higher than right now. I think this is a no pun intended, a golden opportunity to seize on some gold, get some physical, and lock away some wealth going into 2017. If you have any counter arguments to that, and you think that 25% of the population now being capable of buying the yellow metal is not good for the gold market, go ahead and pop your comments down below. Any counter arguments are welcome. And join the discussion here on the Junius Maltby channel. Big shout out to David. I won't say your last name. Keep you safe and secure out there. But David gave a contribution to the coin recently. We're gonna get those dies ordered. It's coming along well. We're almost right at the $1,000 mark for funds raised so far. So we're getting there. We're about halfway there, ladies and gentlemen. Halfway to our goal. That's huge. Huge. Thanks for being part of the Junius Maltby channel. Stay warm, stay well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Take care, all of you.